He will reoffend, and I believe he'll murder.
Tonight, more than 30 years after he terrorized women in Pacific Beach, Kenneth Bogard is up for parole once again. Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us. I'm Marcella Lee. Bogard was the lead singer of a popular local band. He was convicted of raping 7 women in the 90s, and he was sentenced to more than 90 years in prison. Let's bring in our Steve Price now. Steve, one of his victims has been outspoken from the very beginning. And all these years later, she says she's going to keep the story alive for one important reason.
Well, think about this, Marcella. He hasn't even served a third of his sentence at this point, but he's already up for parole. Now the fight to try and keep him behind bars, because one victim fears, as we heard her say, he'll do it again. He entered apartments in the middle of the night, terrorizing women in Pacific Beach.
I'm afraid to live in the PB area.
The rapes started in 1992, and over the next 2 years, there were at least 7 victims.
Wake up, Kim, like happy.
Kim Caldwell was sound asleep in her apartment on Oliver Avenue when the voice woke her up. She thought it was her boyfriend who lived in L.A.
I just turned, and it's every woman's worst nightmare. You know, the ski mask with the alien eyes, and then this big old jagged edge knife.
Kim says he put the knife to her throat and had a bizarre demeanor, as if she wanted him to be there. She still remembers his final words.
He said, "Do you want me to leave?" It's still creeping me out. I just got the chills. You know, what's the right answer? Is it yes? Is it no? Or I don't know. When is the knife going to go into my chest plate?
Kim broke the victim mold after being raped by going public, courageously telling her story, putting pressure on police, who finally created a task force. That led to the arrest of Kenneth Bogard, a singer in a popular band that regularly played gigs at the beach. DNA evidence connected him to the crimes, and Kim continued her fight for justice, testifying in court.
I thought he was going to cut me. You know, this is horrible. I thought he was going to cut me.
Bogard was sentenced to 96 years in prison, but a change in state laws to prevent prison overcrowding made him eligible for parole 5 years ago.
At his first parole hearing, he said he thought he was a good lover and that we would like it. There you go. So there's the kind of guy you want walking around your street. It's terrifying, really terrifying.
Bogard's request was denied, but later this month, he's eligible again. Kim will fight to keep him locked up, but fears this time he will get out.
And this guy is a sexual sadist. He's a predator. They don't stop. They can't stop. Like pedophiles, they don't stop.
Kim is hoping by sharing her story again, it will persuade the parole board to keep Bogard behind bars. She's in her 60s now, retired and loves to paint and travel. But she also knows fighting to keep Bogard in prison will be a part of her life forever.
Once you become a rape victim, it becomes your responsibility. Unfortunately, because someone's next. Your daughter. My nieces. Someone's next.
So Kim actually wanted to go and be there to face Bogard for this hearing, but she's not allowed to. Instead, she's going to testify over Zoom, and she decided to rent a place right on the beach so that he would see behind her that background. She says she knows that he loved the beach. He can't go. She calls it a little creative revenge.
You know, Kim is so strong. And
So
the fact
strong.
that 30 years ago, she started sharing her story so that it would get the attention that it needed. They developed the task force. They found the suspect, which was a surprise to many in the community at that point. But boy, you could just tell her by her reaction that she's kind of reliving it again every time she tells the story.
Well, and the first time we did an interview with her, we actually did blur her face back in the 90s. She came back to us and said, no. This makes it look like I did something wrong when you blur my face. I didn't do anything wrong. The only thing I did was go to bed that night thinking it would be another normal night. And that's why you see her in other interviews with her face, not because we wanted to. She asked us to do that, to be a strong force and to try and get other victims to come forward, which they did, by the way.
That's amazing. All right, well, we will continue, of course, to follow the story. You can find the very latest updates by downloading our free CBS 8 app or visit our website, cbs8.com. Steve, thanks.